Hello guys, and welcome back to Reading Club. So today I'm going to read you My Weird School, Miss Small is Off the Wall, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. Chapter 9, Fit as a Fiddle. Luckily for us, nobody got tagged by Miss Small on the way back to home base. Luckily for us, that is, but not so lucky for Miss Small. She was still lying there on the ground under the tree, so we all ran back to her. "Are you okay?" we all asked as we gathered around her. "My leg," she moaned, and there was pain all over her face. That crybaby Emily started crying. So did a few other kids. To be honest, I almost felt like crying myself, but I didn't. Instead, I ran to get our school nurse, Mrs. Cooney. Mrs. Cooney came running out of the school with a first aid kit. "Oh dear," Mrs. Cooney said when she saw Miss Small lying under the tree. She got down on her hands and knees to examine Miss Small. "You should put a Band-Aid on her leg and kiss it," Michael told Mrs. Cooney. "That's what my mom does when I get hurt." "Your mom is weird," I told Michael. "She's going to need more than a Band-Aid and a kiss," Mrs. Cooney told us. "This leg is broken." Mrs. Cooney called for an ambulance on her cell phone, and it arrived just a couple of minutes later. Some guys got out, and they put Miss Small on a stretcher and carried it into the ambulance. We asked them to put their siren on when they drove to the hospital, but they wouldn't. It was still cool anyway, having an ambulance right on the playground. As soon as we got back to class, we all wrote get well cards to Miss Small. They must have worked because just a few days later, she was back at school. She had a big cast on her leg and crutches to help her walk, and she was smiling. I thought phys ed would be canceled for a few weeks until Miss Small got better. But the day after Miss Small was back, Miss Daisy told us to line up for phys ed. When we got to the gym, Miss Small was standing there with her crutches waiting for us. "I'm fit as a fiddle," she said. "Let's have fun." Even though she was hobbling around, Miss Small still wanted to play games. We played some more Ghost in the Graveyard, but nobody was allowed to climb the tree this time. Miss Small also taught us how to play Red Light, Green Light, Red Rover, Spud, London Bridge, Mother May I, and this really cool game called Duck Duck Goose. I still wish we could have played basketball and football and baseball and sports like that. But those corny games Miss Small taught us were actually kind of fun, I had to admit. Maybe phys ed wasn't so bad after all. Chapter 10, Cooties and Clog Dancing. "Good morning, boys and girls," Principal Klutz said over the loudspeaker. "Today is Tuesday, and today is special because our own Miss Small is a quarter of a century old. So if you see Miss Small in the hall, be sure to wish her a happy birthday." "Wow," Ryan whispered to me. "A quarter of a century is a long time." After the morning announcements, we have this thing in our class called Show and Share. We have to bring in something from home and tell the class about it. I brought in an old army helmet that my grandpa wore when he fought in a war a long time ago. It has fake leaves attached to it, so Grandpa could hide in the woods and nobody would see him. I put it on my head even though it was too big for me. Then everybody passed the helmet around so they could feel how heavy it was. "That's very interesting, AJ," Miss Daisy said when I was finished. "It's your turn, Andrea. What do you have to share with us today?" "That helmet is awesome, AJ," Ryan whispered to me while Andrea got up. "Yeah, let's see Andrea top that," I said. Andrea lugged a big duffel bag up to the front of the class. She pulled 3 long sticks out of the bag. On the end of each stick was a thing that looked like a marshmallow, but black. Then she pulled out a lighter and set those marshmallow things on fire. "My mom signed me up for juggling lessons," Andrea announced. Then she threw those flaming sticks up in the air. I don't know how she did it, but the sticks were flying all over the place. She kept catching them and throwing them back up in the air. If it happened to anybody else, I would have thought it was super cool. Finally, Andrea caught all 3 sticks in one hand, blew them out, and took a bow. Everybody started cheering and clapping. I hate her. After I get good, Andrea said, I'm going to learn how to juggle while I'm riding a unicycle. I hope she rides her unicycle off a cliff. Okay, everybody, it's time to line up for phys ed, Miss Daisy announced. When we got to the gym, we sang happy birthday to Miss Small and told her she didn't look half bad for somebody who had lived a quarter of a century. Today, we're going to do something that's really fun, Miss Small announced. Everybody choose a partner. We're going to have a 3-legged race. How can we have a 3-legged race when we only have 2 legs? I asked. Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. I turned around to see if Ryan or Michael would be my partner. But Ryan chose Michael and Michael chose Ryan. Just about everybody had already chosen a partner. There was only one kid in the class beside me who didn't have a partner. Andrea Young. Looks like we're partners, AJ, Andrea said. Okay, I said, but I'm not inviting you to my birthday party or anything. Don't worry, I'm not inviting you to my birthday party either. Good. Miss Small gave each team a piece of rope. We tied my left ankle to Andrea's right ankle. I had no place to put my left arm except around Andrea's shoulders. It was disgusting, but I had to do it. Hey, look, Ryan said. AJ and Andrea are in love. Everybody laughed. Shut up, Ryan, I said. When are you going to get married? Asked Michael. Some friends. My face was all hot, and I would have beat up the 2 of them if I hadn't been tied to Andrea. AJ, Andrea whispered, I know how you can get back at Ryan and Michael. How? Let's beat him. Beat him? I said, aren't you the one who was competing as icky? I changed my mind. She said, let's beat him. Let's beat him bad. That will show him. We can't beat him, I told her. They're the best athletes in 2nd grade. You're a girl. We can do it, AJ, Andrea said. 3-legged races are a lot like clog dancing. Clog dancing? I said. Is that some dance the plumbers do when the sink gets clogged up? No, silly. It's a stepped dance that you do with your heels, keeping time with the music. I go clogging every Thursday after school. I'm not doing any clogging. Clogging is dumb. You want to win, don't you? Andrea said. Look, all you have to do is move your leg forward whenever I count to 2. All right, I said. I didn't like the idea of Andrea Young ordering me around. But what else was I going to do? Our legs were tied together. Everybody lined up on the starting line. To win a 3-legged race, you need cooties, Miss Small said. Cooperation, teamwork, sportsmanship. Let's stomp them into the ground, Andrea whispered in my ear. Let's make him wish they were never born. On your mark, get set, Miss Small hollered. Go! Me and Andrea took off. 1, 2, 1, 2, Andrea said. 1, 2, 1, 2. Andrea and I went clogging down the field. Some of the kids fell down. We were in first place. Ryan and Michael were right behind us. You'd make a great clogger, AJ, Andrea shouted. Quiet, I'm trying to concentrate. 1, 2, 1, 2. Me and Andrea were out in front of everyone. 1, 2, 1, 2. Me and Andrea were pulling away from everybody else. 1, 2, 1, 2. Michael and Ryan fell down. 1, 2, 1, 2. Me and Andrea won the race. Ha ha! I called to Ryan and Michael. Eat my dust, losers. I was so happy that I almost wanted to hug. I wanted to give Andrea a hug. Almost. So that's the end of this channel. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please click many likes and subscribe Reading Club. So I'll come back later with a new and improved channel. Bye everybody. See you later.